Billy, 6 wins and a draw in the last 9 games. Things are starting to gel together after quite a disappointing start.
Yes, very poor start. You know, we've been used to at this football club in the previous 2 seasons to having really good starts. So I mean, I was just as disappointed as anyone, as well as the fans, you know, to have that type of start. But as you say, we've kicked on a little bit since then, and we look as though we're putting things together nicely.
And what's been the key to turning it around?
Just sticking to your principles and your beliefs, keeping the players' spirits high, not to feel too disappointed. You know, we knew it was going to be a difficult season this year again, because we've had a lot of new players, with 10, 11 new faces come into the squad. There's 10 left last year, for different reasons that we can't really get into. But the 2 key ones was obviously you lose your Player of the Year, Neil Bishop, and you lose your top goal scorer in Clayton Donaldson. So any team would miss them. But to be fair, the players that were brought in, they're beginning to gel. They're beginning to know each other as individuals. They didn't know them from Adam when they first come across them when they first joined the club. So we're just pleased that things are beginning to pick up.
You mentioned about the players that we lost, and a lot of people said, oh well, York City, they'll struggle to score goals next season. Obviously the season's developed. We've not had a problem scoring goals. It's more been the problem's been at the back.
Well, it's been the back and the front, to be fair, because early on in the season, I mean, the first 8 games we'd only sort of took 5 points, something like that, which was disappointing. And it's probably more than that, to be honest. First 10 games, I think it was, you know, we only took 5 points. So we looked at it. We were giving goals away for fun. Players that you expect better weren't producing the performances that we'd seen in the past. And at the other end, we'd brought strikers in. There's 5 strikers vying for 2 places, and you know, we just couldn't put them in at the other end. So if you're not putting them in at that end and you can't get them out the other end, then obviously it's a recipe for disaster. But luckily, or not luckily, through a lot of hard work and perseverance and persistence, we've kept at it. We've kept it, as I said, we've kept the spirits high. We've worked hard on the training ground at our organisational skills and our disciplines and responsibilities. So now we'd like to think that we've turned the corner a wee bit.
When you're trying to turn around a difficult patch and trying to make the team get back to winning ways, how much is psychology part of it? Because there must be, when you've lost, let's say, 4-1 at home to Histon, the next home game, there must be a feeling in the players, you know, they perhaps don't want to go out there and do it.
I don't think, no matter what level you're at, confidence is a big factor. You've seen the Tottenham Hotspur side, who's, you know, the value of that team's like well over £100 million. So even at that level, confidence can shred players' performances. So our players at our little level here are no different. Confidence is a big thing, so it's a matter of working on what we believe in. As I said, you know, we've all got visions, we've all got goals, we know what we want to do, but it takes time to get there. So, you know, it's we've just got to keep working at it.
So with poor results comes quite a lot of criticism, and do you think the criticism you've received has been justified?
If you're not winning, then obviously fans are not going to be happy. So they pay their money, they're entitled to criticise, but as I've said in the media, that we've got young players at the club like Soji and Richard Brodie, for example, who are young players, Alex Rhodes, Chaz Wrigley, developing these players. So if you're at them and you're shouting negative things at them, then they're not going to come on. They're going to be frightened. They're not wanting to try things because people's going to shout at them. You know, the fans will say, well, that's what we pay our money for, but hang on a minute. You know, we're here, we're trying to help players, we're trying to develop players and produce footballers, so we need their support. So yeah, they've been a little bit critical because they've been used to, and the expectation levels have been sort of high because of the previous couple of seasons. But when you're bringing in 10 new players, you lose 10 players and you bring another batch in, then that takes the time, as we keep saying. So from that point of view, we've got to show patience, and you know, we've just got to persevere in what we believe in.
Now, one big change this season to the setup has been the new TV deal with Setanta Sports, and there's been quite a lot of debate about that. And the Farsley game was our 5th appearance already this season. Do you think this has been a good thing for York City Football Club?
Well, it all depends how you look at it. I mean, they would never tell us what we were going to get. So, I mean, I still don't know what we're getting. I know we get 5,000 for a game, but I don't know what the package is. So that's for the money people at the club. But there's 2 ways to look at it. You can look at it and say, well, The reason we were on 5 times, not for 6 times, because both teams were in the playoffs, so expectation levels were high from the TV people, so they expected us to be up there. We're not up there. The other way to look at it is that opposition can spy on us and look at us and take notes of, you know, what our players can do, what they can't do. So sometimes overexposure is a bad thing as well. But from that point of view, as a player, it puts you in the shot window. You can, if you're doing your stuff. Unfortunately for us, when we've been on telly, we've been easy on the eye.
One thing we certainly have provided them with is entertainment, with a whopping 18 goals in those 5 games that we've been on. But do you think that's come at a price in that our attendances are down?
Disappointing attendances. You know, I was just talking to the media there not that long ago about the same thing. You know, we had a cup tie where we had 1,600 fans, which is no club can survive in that. You know, we're trying to build the football club up. Last year and previous years, we had the second, third highest gates in the league. This year, you know, because we've not kicked on as well as what we should have, then the gates are down drastically. Well, you know, we can't survive in gates of 1,600. And to be fair, you know, I would like to think that I work very, very hard for this football club. And for 1,600 fans to turn up is, for me, is a slap in the face, you know. And I don't want to criticise our fans, because we've got great fans. We took 800 and odd to Farsley, they were great. We had the best away record in all of England last year, 44 points on the road. When we come to home, you know, maybe we get 1 or 2 negative vibes from the crowd, and you know, the players are a little bit nervy and touchy at home. But as we said earlier, the people pay their money, they're entitled to say what they want to say, but it's better if they can get behind us and all supporters. We can't survive in 1,600. We had 6,600 here last year. We had 5,500, we had 5,000, we had 4,000, we had 4,500, we had 3, you know, but never 1,600. I don't know why, if people are saying, well, team's not playing so well, but well, that's what you're there to support. You've got to support them when the going's tough. You know, don't just come out when the going's good. Anybody, you're not a supporter, you're not a true supporter if you just come out when the going's good. You're a fair weather supporter. We need you all the time, with us through thick and thin, and that's if you're a true supporter.